I'm going to review both Doom and Final Doom for the Sony PlayStation. First, let's take a look at the original Doom. This game came out in 1995 and it was developed by GT Interactive. The first thing I'm going to say is, they really did a great job porting this game to the PlayStation. This was the first generation release on the PlayStation, so getting graphics like this and close to a PC port was pretty impressive. On this port you get most of the levels from Ultimate Doom, most of the levels from Doom 2, and some original levels. So it's a lot more replay value than the other ports. Visually, it's up to par with the PC, and really, it's one of the few versions that can say that. And as you can see from the video, they've added completely new light sourcing. So as you walk from area to area, the lighting actually changes. Frankly, I think that's a huge improvement. It really adds to the atmosphere of these stages. So in a nutshell, the visuals are great. They really took advantage of the PlayStation's power in this game. Now really, one of my biggest complaints with this game is that not all the levels were included from Ultimate Doom and Doom 2. Back when they were making the Jaguar version, they remade the levels. Basically, these levels are smaller, they took off some things, they use a lot of repeat textures where there should have been new textures, and that's the exact same thing we're seeing in this PlayStation version. Given the power of the PlayStation, I feel it was really possible to directly port the PC version just to the PlayStation. Now, it's not a huge problem. I found that most of my favorite stages from the original PC were still here, and the changes made on the stages aren't exactly major, but I would have still liked to see them directly ported over. Some of the other problems would be that there's no gamma correction, so if the game is just too dark for you to see, which is sometimes the case, there's really nothing you can do about it. Also, another major problem is, this game uses the password system. That means you can't use your memory card whatsoever to save the game. The password system is just so archaic, and I hate using it. Another problem is the only way to do multiplayer on this is by having 2 PlayStations, 2 games, 2 TVs. If we could have had some split screen play, that would have just been perfect. Now, another major problem is the music sucks. They went ahead and lost the tracks from the PC version, which the quality wasn't great since it was MIDIs, but they sounded good. They went a completely new direction with the music. It's now more so just that dreary, boring atmosphere sound, and it does nothing to improve the excitement of the game. It really just makes you miss the classic songs. And lastly, one thing I really don't like about this game is the cheat system. Frankly, they're just difficult to do because they're long, and you have to do them like almost a rhythm. You have to punch them in just right or it won't work, so sometimes I have to do it like 10 times before I get the code to work. This game already has the password system. I would prefer I just put a code in the password menu and then another menu comes up with my cheats. It would work so much better like that. So those are my complaints with the game. But when it really comes down to it, I'm only complaining about what kept this game from being perfect. Simply put, this is easily one of the best Doom ports you are ever going to find. And with this new light sourcing, the PlayStation added something that makes this game look even more impressive. Now if you want to know something funny, the PlayStation port was actually used to make the Saturn port some years later. That really could have been an opportunity to fix the problems in this game, but they really dropped the ball on that and kicked the Saturn while it was down. They removed the light sourcing, the frame rate was so bad it's actually choppy, and it's even more pixelated. That's really just one of those ports that makes you wonder, why did they even bother? But the PlayStation got a kick-ass port. I give it a B. Definitely worth checking out. Now, back in 1996, id decided it was time to make another Doom game, this one titled Final Doom. Now, in my opinion, Final Doom is one of the worst Dooms you can pick up. It's the same old Doom game, nothing new, no new monsters, just new levels, and not particularly good ones at that. For whatever reason, they decided to port that to the PlayStation. Now, on the PC version of Final Doom, you had 2 episodes, Evolution and Plutonia. I believe both episodes had 32 levels, so that's 64 levels altogether. The funny thing about this release of Final Doom is it grabbed the PC's Final Doom that was mediocre to begin with and butchered that. On this you have 3 episodes: Master Levels, Evolution, and Plutonia. Considering I get to pick my episode, I figured, hey, I must be getting all the levels from the PC version of Final Doom. But this version only has about 30 levels. Now, that means with the Master Levels, Plutonia, and Evolution, I only have 30 levels when the PC version of Final Doom had 64. So I don't even have half of the levels of Final Doom. So give or take, you have about 20 levels from the PC version of Final Doom. And then they went in and threw in Master Levels, which was an add-on for Doom 2. To be frank, all the levels in Final Doom and the Master Levels are just boring as hell. They're just big and they're a mishmash of shit. I can't believe it's even the same people that put these levels together. Final Doom is using the exact same engine used to make the PlayStation version of Doom. So with that said, all the problems in the original release are still here, and then some. Since the engine hasn't been tweaked at all to improve performance, these large levels and open areas tend to have a lot more slowdown. The original release of Doom on the PlayStation was pretty impressive. As I mentioned earlier, I do have my complaints with it, but it was still impressive. It was an early PlayStation game, it was very identical to the PC, it looked great, but it's pretty ballsy just to release the exact same game, essentially, with just shitty new levels. Even hardcore fans of Doom hated Final Doom. I remember back when I had this on the PC, it was early when it came out, and I gave a copy of it to my friend, and he's the hugest Doom fan. He's the one that got me into the series. So I called him a couple days later and I asked him, did you beat it already? Because this guy would just sit on a game all day, especially a game like Doom, and just beat that shit. He hated it so much, and I thought, wow, how can he hate this? I mean, if you just throw new levels at him, he's gonna love it. But man, these levels are just a disaster. So let me go ahead and wrap this up. The PC version was already a disaster, and for some reason they decided to bring that to the PlayStation and fuck it up more. Frankly, there's a ton of Doom mods that are funner than Final Doom. The only good thing I could say about this, still uses a great engine. If you just love Doom so much that you'll just take anything, this will do. I give this game a D. It was a dumb move to put this out by id, and it was even a dumber move by GT Interactive to put it on the PlayStation.